Mark, Kieran, always good to have your time. I'm not sure if this is the fifth or the sixth time we've sat down and done these interviews, but why are they so important to you? Mark?
I think for me it gives us a chance to communicate with the fan base, talk honestly and openly about where we are, what our plans are, and again it's just a great opportunity to be in touch and touch base.
Same for you?
Yeah, we do a lot of sort of weekly press pre-match and post-match, but it ends up being the same sort of questions, so there's a chance to maybe take a little bit of a pause and answer some questions a little bit more thoroughly and take a little bit of a broader perspective on things as well.
I think last time we sat down it was late October, early November. How would you assess the last 3 months that we've had?
Yeah, it's been certainly some ups and downs and some really good days. That was probably before the Tottenham game, I think. So yeah, obviously days like that are, incredible days for everyone involved. We had the Chelsea game, the Wolves away from home with Jack's last minute winner. So we've had, some great wins, some incredible days, some more difficult ones as well. Of course, we've played some top teams as well in the last few weeks. So some challenges, and yeah, it's football and football at the highest level, and the challenge that we're facing. Some good days, some days that don't go your way, but most important is how you take on the challenge every day and how you take on the challenge every week. And the last 3 months has certainly been that, and I think the next 3 months is going to be a lot of the same things, with hopefully more good days than bad.
Has the Premier League been as you expected? Has there anything caught you by surprise or?
Not really, to be honest. From on the pitch stuff, I think I knew what the level was. The level's really, really high. It's the best league in the world. There's no doubt about that. I think the standard this year is really high as well. You can see that in quite a few different ways. I think how difficult some of the very best teams in the country have found it to win games show how even the league is. I think there was a lot of investment across probably some of the teams around the middle of the league last year, and some of them have really pushed on. So for anyone, it's really, really hard to win games. So yeah, it's a big challenge. You're facing the best of the best every week. But I don't think there's been any big surprises in there. Most of the challenges are ones that, we knew were coming. And of course, you don't always get the outcome that you want, but I think we're facing the challenges that we knew were coming, and we're trying to face them in the best way.
Huge exposure the football club has now on a global scale as well, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, look, the football club is such a different place to the club we found when we arrived 3.5 years ago. The facilities you're in now, the pitch, the infrastructure, there's been substantial investment. And we're in a global goldfish bowl, and I think that's it's been a real good exposure for the football club. It's helped take the football club right across the planet. It's certainly increasing the fan base on a daily basis, and I think again the town and the county has a club that it can be very proud of.
Absolutely. I mean, when we first got promoted, you spoke about the club not just surviving but thriving. That is a difficult challenge, but there's been some good moments as well, hasn't there, this season? Yeah,
and I think, look, I think as Kieran just pointed out, we've had some really good days, some great nights for some good results, but we've also had some challenges because we're playing in the very, very best league in the world against the very, very best players in the world, and we've been outside of this league for such a long time. It's going to take time. But when you look at the club in general, this club's thriving, be under no illusion. New training ground coming online, Academy Cat 1 status coming online, over £60 million worth of investment once the training ground has been completed into the Suffolk economy, huge infrastructure projects, and again, a stadium and a home that I think we can be very, very proud of. And we get incredible feedback from the other Premier League clubs, from established Premier League clubs that visit Portman Road, that talk about our infrastructure, our home, what we've achieved in such a short period, and more importantly, the amazing journey that we still have left ahead.
There's always a project, and you've mentioned it, the training ground. When does that get underway? How close are we to starting?
I'd like to think that we're probably a couple of weeks away now from hopefully a positive planning application, and then we're out to tender, and the work will start imminently. The designs are completed. We're in a good place because that not only gives the first team a new home and gives us really elite world-class facilities, it also takes the current facilities and totally redevelops those for both our academy and our women's teams. And of our development squad. So the whole club there, the whole football element of the football club is getting a new home and getting really world-class and elite facilities, which we've cried out for.
How important are they for you, Kieran, and specifically the training ground facilities being done?
Yeah, I think for the whole club, but for a first team perspective, obviously, I think as Mark said so many times, I think we've climbed so quickly that from an infrastructure perspective to match that rate of growth is impossible. Not virtually impossible. I think it's impossible. So I think, you know, the club have made the very best, and everyone has made the very best of the facilities that we have and the infrastructure that we have. But you know, we need to grow it now, and we need to develop it in all areas. And obviously, you know, top range training facilities is a big part of that. It helps the day-to-day work, it helps the recruitment of players, and it helps the retainment of our very best players, which we want to do. So I think that's going to be a big boost. It's always nice to see the plans going on in the background. I think when the first digger and the first shovel comes, again, it gives the players a big boost. It just reminds everyone that there's a big future ahead of, you know, the next week or the next game. And the club's going in a really positive direction. So yeah, it's exciting to hear that the work's not too far away from commencing, and we're looking forward to seeing it, you know, to see it in progress.
Absolutely. What about here, Mark? Because tickets are gold dust. Everyone always asking, can you get me 2 tickets? Can you get me 2 tickets? It's almost impossible, isn't it? What are the plans in terms of expansion here? Where are we with that? Because
I think it's funny.
We could do with another 10,000 seats, surely.
Stuart Hayton, the club secretary, who's been here for over 100 years, I think, said to me a couple of weeks ago, he said, I remember being in a really early meeting with you when we were in League One, before Kieran joined, and you said you're going to make this the hottest ticket in town. And I think we have made this the hottest ticket in town. It's certainly the hottest ticket in the county, and tickets are in demand. The fans have been incredible, whether that's, you know, we'll sell probably around 100,000 shirts this year, whether that's tickets, whether that's community-based activities, whether that's commercial support for the football club. The fan base and the stakeholders have just been simply incredible. We've still got a lot more work to do. In the next few weeks, 2 new lounges will open in the West Stand that we've been developing underneath the executive boxes. And there's multiple projects within the stadium ongoing. Planning applications in for car parking behind the South Stand. And ultimately, we're working in progress on the redevelopment of the Cobble Stand. But as I've said time and time again, that's not imminent. That's a longer term project. We have numerous infrastructure projects still to complete. We have the training ground to complete. You know, delivering Cat 1 status in the academy is no mean feat. We've got so much going on. So to answer your original question, be under no illusion, this club is thriving.
You mentioned the hottest ticket. Ed Sheeran's a hot ticket as well, and you've got a really good relationship with him. How's it come about? How's it developed? Where is it now? Plans for the future with Ed here?
He's been fantastic. You know, again, over this 3.5 year period, I think we've all built a friendship with him. I've said this before. He's such a good local man who cares about his football club, and he's been so supportive. We've had some fun this season. Wolves away, Man City at home. For some reason he said, well, I'm going to sit next to you, Mark, for those games, which I think was more of an experience for him than it was for me. But he's fantastic. Wherever he's around the world, I would say we probably don't go more than 48 hours with him dropping a message in, or vice versa, and we're checking how each other is, how the club is, what's happening. He stays in touch with the players regularly. He just cares passionately about the football club. And you know, he's now invested, he's a shareholder in the football club, and he's a fantastic ambassador for this football club. There is nothing we ask of the guy that he doesn't do for us. He's top drawer.
Are we going to see him here at some stage?
Oh, watch this space, Matthew. Watch this space.
Fingers crossed. I want a ticket for that one if we can. The women's team, they're also having a great season and thriving, looking like maybe promotion as well, and another game here as well at Portman Road to look forward to. You must be pleased with their progress because we've invested in the women's team heavily.
Yeah, no, we have. Joe, Rachel, the staff, the players have done a fantastic job. Again, that's been a progressive build each season. Again, they'll play here again this season. I'd like to see record crowd for that if we can do that. You know, they're currently sitting in a great position in the league, and if they can maintain their form, they've got a great chance of getting across the line and then getting into the second tier of English football, where I've said all along I'd like to see us stabilise, develop, and then progress and build from there. But again, Joe, Rachel, the team, the staff, integral part of the club, and are having a great season.
Absolutely. You've invested in them. You've invested heavily in the first team here. I think it's the second highest net spend in the Premier League over the 2 transfer windows. How necessary was that with the rapid rise, with the back-to-back promotions?
Vital, absolutely vital, because as I said, we're behind the curve. We're a club that's not been in the top flight for over 20 years. Even the clubs that were promoted with us were on parachute payments, had recently been in the Premier League, so had, if you look, like half or 2/3 built Premier League squads. We had to invest. So I think we've invested wisely. We've stuck to the model. I think we've invested in some real good young talent. And whilst we've invested heavily in transfer fees, I think it's important to note that the salary base will still be one of, if not the lowest by quite a way, in the Premier League.
So that makes it even more difficult then to compete, doesn't it, against established teams in the Premier League? If they've been in the Premier League for 5, 6, 7 years, it makes it even more difficult to compete.
100%. But we are where we are, and we know this, and this is the challenge of coming in to the greatest league in the world. It's the challenge, as Kieran has said, he's having 2 incredible seasons and not having the ability to build infrastructure, squad depth behind it. Had we sat in the Championship for 2 or 3 years before promotion to the Premier League, the squad would have been more mature. You probably wouldn't have needed to sign so many players. But look, what this guy and the players delivered, we needed to back. So I think we've been sensible in what we do. The board have been fantastic. The investors have been fantastic. They've supported us at every opportunity. And I think we've invested well in very exciting talent.
So specifically with the January transfer window in mind, did it tick all the boxes? Did we get all the players that you wanted? Did we get the positions covered that you wanted?
No, I think we worked really, really hard and really well. I say you never, can tick everything, because that's not how it's not how the world works, not how football works. You can't predict a Wes Burns injury with a week left in the transfer window and things
when
like that.
Chidozie Ogbene's already out for the season.
Exactly.
As well.
So you can't always tick and predict everything. I think, like Mark said, there was an important balance to be had of we have to strengthen the squad at each window, at each opportunity, and the transfer window is the only chance to do that. It's been an incredible growth. We've tried to go into the season, and I think in the right way, keep a consistency to the squad and keep a lot of the players who've been on the journey with us, while still, recruiting to improve the squad for this season, but also for the future, and invest for the seasons ahead. So it's important that we try to do that again in January, irrespective of where we are. And I think, a Jaden Philogene coming into the club is another one, like Mark said, that is on the model, that is young, hungry talent that we feel will develop and improve at the football club and be an important player for us in time. But also trying to address areas of the squad that need to be improved, or that we feel that we can improve or address. And of course, Julio Enciso coming in gives us a real talent in the top end of the pitch, who's got, for a young age, really good pedigree. And everyone's, seen his first performance here at home, and I think really enjoyed it, and we think lots to come. Jaden I spoke about as someone who's not played a lot so far this season, so it's not going to happen overnight, but we believe is a real big talent who can help us for the rest of the season and for the future. Ben Godfrey is a player who has good Premier League experience, is a strong man, strong character, has been in the league before, and to bring in someone like that on loan gives us, really better and good cover in defensive positions, and he's versatile enough to cover different positions as well and improve the squad. And of course, with Christian even getting an injury is another one that you can't always predict. So, Alex coming in certainly strengthens the goalkeeper department. We've seen what he can bring to the team already on Saturday. He makes the department stronger. So, I think we've improved in every transfer window. There's no doubt in my mind about that. Again, this window, I think we've improved. Of course, we've lost, as you say, Wes and Chio on a few overs over the course of the season, but I think the squad's in a better place than it was at the start of January, and it will help us for the next few months.
Enciso and Philogene, we beat off a lot of competition for those two players. Why did they choose Ipswich Town rather than somewhere else?
Yeah, I think there's quite a few reasons, and I'm sure the boys would speak about it. But I do know that we are, in terms of a place to come and play your football, a place to develop, a place to progress in your career, an environment that is, a really good one to come into. I do know that we're an attractive proposition now, and that's a real positive for the now and for the future. So I think, and I know the likes of Jadon or Julio will have looked at players who've come here this season, will have looked at players who've come here over the last few seasons, seen players come, improve, progress in their careers, go to a height that maybe they wouldn't have done if they went to another football club, play in an outstanding environment with a fantastic supporter base, play in a team that has a real team spirit, a playing style and identity that players want to be a part of. So I think it's an attractive place for players to come, and especially young players probably, but also, Ben Godfrey, who's a little bit more experienced as well, had some other options. So I think that's a big positive. Of course, it's, the players coming to us this January as well know that there's some challenges ahead, and know that it's a challenging season for the football club, and we're going to be, in some difficult situations, and we're going to be in a fight. But I think the fact that, players still wanting to come here is a testament to, their character, is a testament to how the club's approached this season, is a testament to some of the games that those players will have watched and seen, the atmosphere here, some of the performances at home, some of the football that we've managed to play even against really, really good teams. And it means that, even in a really challenging season, we're still seen as a really good football club to come to. And I think that's a credit to a lot of different reasons. And I think it's a really good sign for the future as well.
In any window, there's people that go out the door as well. You allowed Harry Clark and Ali Al-Hamadi to go on loan. What was your thought process of letting those two go out? Or getting the minutes, is it, or getting the experience?
Yeah, I think, look, there's always a balance between, you got to make sure you have enough depth for the games ahead and make sure that you have enough cover. But we also need to always make decisions with an eye on, the future and the club as well, and also respecting each player's individual development and their careers as well, and trying to balance those things up is not easy. But yeah, in those instances, Harry, I think, everyone knows, has been a big part of the last few years. Still a young defender, still got room to improve and lots to come, but is coming off of the back of a big surgery in the summer, missed the first few months of this season, had some Premier League exposure in the first half of the season, but everyone felt it was the right time in his career to go out and play regularly again, and hopefully play week in, week out, and the opportunity to do that in the Championship at a good club was a really good one. And with Ben coming in, we were able to bring another good option to the team and to the squad in that sort of role. And similar with Ali, we know Ali's jump has been massive, an incredible story from where he was 12 months ago, but came in, had a big part to play in the second half of last season. Again, big surgery in the summer, big recovery from it. Had a part to play in the months that he was here in the second half of the season, but with George coming back fit and the qualities that George brings us, Ali's minutes were probably going to be a bit less, and still a young striker with great attributes, great profile.
A lot of interest in him as well.
A lot of interest. There aren't that many strikers out there, and certainly young, hungry strikers with Ali's attributes are always going to be in demand. So a chance for him to go out and play regularly again in the Championship, which he hasn't really done before in his career, a good opportunity. So yeah, a good opportunity for those boys, added to having Cameron and Elkin out both playing regularly now in League One. Cameron all season, Elkin after a few injuries back playing now.
Must be pleased with their progress.
Very pleased, and two boys who've been with the squad quite a lot over the last 2 years. Cameron been with us permanently, so yeah, to see them go out and play and be playing regularly, Cameron doing as well as what he can, I think again these are all good things for the football club. For us to have players out in the Championship playing week in, week out, for us to have players out on loan at League One clubs. We were there not long ago as a club, and now we've got our best young players going out to get experience because the team here has moved on really fast and the level's moved on really fast. But I think those are signs of a thriving football club, of a healthy football club. Is you want to have players out there progressing, but they're your players, and you're coming back in the summer and you're going to have players who are hopefully in a better position than they went out, and ready to either come back and compete in the squad or find the next step and the next progression for them. So again, these are all good signs and healthy things, and we'll certainly keep a close eye on them.
spent a lot of money. How does it impact us going forward, say in the summer, for instance, recruitment-wise?
I think it puts us in a good place. Again, we've recruited assets all over the football club. And, Kieran just said that, I think it's a real sign, it's a good way of putting it, the health of the football club. It's proof that the club is thriving, that we are loaning some of our young talent to the Championship where we were last season. Ali's a prime example. There were probably 8-9 clubs in the Championship that wanted his services. We could have moved Cam Humphreys to Championship club, but we made the decision to leave his progression where he was. That's a really healthy, thriving football department within the club. From the summer, the work starts now. And because it's relentless, it just does not stop. So we'll plan for the summer now. Financially, we're in a good place, we're healthy. The rebuild, and it is a rebuild because we're still in a rebuilding process of this incredible football club, will go on. The infrastructure projects will go on, the continued development of the team, Kieran's staff, infrastructure projects, the academy, the foundation, all goes on because I said when I joined this football club, we needed to rebuild every single part of this football club. We're only at the end of the beginning. We have so much clear space in front of us. That's the exciting thing. If I felt we were done, I think we'd be having different conversations. If I think we'd maxed out and hit the ceiling on what we could achieve here, we'd be probably having different conversations. We're nowhere near it. We're still very much, I believe, at the start of this journey, 3.5 years in for the investment group, and a manager who's delivered back-to-back promotions. And by the way, we're right in the mix, fighting to stay in this division. This football club's moving forward.
You're never going to please everyone. Everyone's going to have an opinion on how you do things, what team you pick, who we sign, etc. How do you deal with that outside noise that comes?
I think, look, you have a group of people around you that you trust. I think we trust each other implicitly. We talk regularly. We probably talk several times a day in a transfer window. And we're aligned, and we have a group of people around us that we trust. But there is always noise when you run any sports organisation, particularly football clubs. And I think what happens is the difference between probably League One, the Championship and the Premier League is the noise in the Premier League is global. So you are right, everyone has opinion. But, the fans have been fantastic with us since the day we arrived. We've tried to communicate as we are now, honestly and openly. And I think on the communication and the letters and the emails and the calls that I have from fans, there's a bond of trust that we are rebuilding this incredible football club. We are rebuilding the fans' football club for the long term. So sometimes you've got to block the noise out and you've got to stay on the tracks. You've got to stick to the plan. And as Kieran says, we trust the process. And we work hard to be the very, very best versions of ourselves. And if we continue to do that, we'll get the rewards.
14 games, that's what there's left now. We're in a fight. There's pressure on the players. How important is it that everyone sticks with us in those difficult moments?
No, there's no doubt about it. That's the way it's always been, and it's the way it's got to be for the next few months. It's, we're in the position that, we were going to be this season. If we do well, we're competing, and we've competed, I think, really well across most of the games, to be honest. There's a few games that the level of the opponents got away from us, but across 24 Premier League games, we've competed really well in a lot of games. And I think, the reality is if we were 3-4 points better off, the perception would be that we're in a really good position and everything's on track. And I think we can all look at the games and we know that, 3-4 points is millimetres and decisions and tiny margins away from, we could easily have more points now. So, we've got 14 games. We need to, as Mark said, stick to our process in terms of how we work day to day and make sure that the work is as good as it has been, and it is. The players are working so hard. And then we need to go at each game and do our very, very best and attack it all as one with the players, with the supporters, with everyone involved in the football club, and give our all for the 14 games. And I've got no doubt that's what we will do. And let's see where that takes us in the end. But I think, look, it's a key stage of the season, and we've had some meetings with the players this week. I think it's easy to feel like the last few years have all been a dream and it's all been up and all, all been smooth, but it's not been like that. Of course, in League One, the Championship, you're going to win. In League One, we won a lot more games than you are this year. In the Championship, you know, we did incredible to win the games that we had. But it's also been moments when it hasn't all been our way. If you look at, you know, the last 2 seasons, probably, you know, I always think when you climb quick, January is sometimes a tricky month. The winter periods are tough because it's a new league for us in the Championship. It's new to us being at the top of League One. And then you get to January and new players come in, the squad changes. That doesn't always take you forward straight away. Sometimes it can take you a step backwards as you integrate new players into the squad. And I you know, spoke with a group last week. I think it was 12 months ago we were 3-0 down to Preston at half time. It was 24 months ago we were 1-0 down to Cambridge and 2-0 only Christian saved a penalty. And on runs where we hadn't won for 8-9 games in League One. Championship really, really similar.
2-0 down against Sheffield Wednesday.
2-0 down, yeah. Well, I think that was the week before the Cambridge game, and then after that we went 1-0, almost 2-0 down to Cambridge. But in those periods when it was tough, we stuck to a process. We stayed consistent with what we do. Of course, you always need to look to tweak and adapt in different ways. We also had January periods where new players were coming into the group. The group is reforming a little bit. And we stuck to what we'd done well, and we stuck together, and we came out through the spring with, you know, incredible runs, record EFL break and run in League One. I think we won 9 out of 10 games in the Championship, having not won maybe for 9 games. So look, winning 9 games and 10 games in the Premier League is not going to happen. That's not the season that we're in. But I think the power of that shows that when we stick together, when we stick to what we've done well, when we try and tweak and improve, but we keep our core essence and we keep a positive mindset and we stick together as a club, that we're capable of putting runs together and putting special runs together. And we're going to have to put a special run together in the next 14 games. There's no doubt about that. Look, for a team, the scale of the challenge, to come from the Championship to the Premier League now is seen as an incredible jump. To come from League One to the Premier League in 2 years, and all of the challenges that bring, is an incredible challenge that not many groups of players or football clubs could handle. But so far we've handled it okay, and we're competing, and I think we're going to need to have a really, really strong finish to the season to get what we all want at the end of the season. But I think over the last couple of years we've shown that sticking together, doing the right things day to day, going at each game with a mindset that we can do special things, and that's what we're going to try and do in the next 14 games. And we're not going to have an extra hour's sleep. We're not going to miss one day's work. We're going to give absolutely everything we can to have a really special end to the season, and you know, let's hope we can do it.
We've heard the phrase running towards adversity so many times. 14 games to go. Are we sprinting into adversity now?
Yeah, it's quite pertinent, those words now. But they're the basis of everything we do. They were the basis when we walked in the door day one, and they still form that foundation now. I think the question you've just asked Kieran about where we're at, how we end the season, the difference in this football club since we came has been unity, has been that ability for everyone to be as one. And we're going to need that more than ever, Matt. It's so important. We're really fortunate that we have a board that of directors that make sure with the shareholders Kieran and I are on solid ground, so we never have to look after our shoulder. Our fight and our challenge is in front of us, and that's with the other clubs in the Premier League. And I think if we are as one, that's whether that's fans, whether that's key stakeholders, whether that's commercial customers, whether that's the local community, whether that's former players. If we're as one, we can do something quite special. We've proven that time and time again. How many times last season did people think we'd run out of steam? How many times in the League One season did they think Plymouth and Sheffield Wednesday would run away with it? No. The difference was for me, this fella, the players that we got, and that ability for this fan base and the people who purport to genuinely care about this football club staying as one. And I think if we can do that again, we can have a right swing at this second half of the season.
Is that the final message? What do you need to do? What do we need to do? Former players, supporters, staff. Is that the message? We stick as one.
We're as one, because I think that's the difference. And you see so many football clubs, when they hit choppy waters, that they don't stay as one. We have to stick to the process, as Kieran said, believe in the process, believe in the fact that we're trying to rebuild this football club. This investment group, we're not going away. We are going to rebuild this football club, and we're going to hit choppy waters at times. But as one, we expect the nationals, the internationals, the regional media, to come after us, to criticise us, to be challenging to us. But whether the locals, the people who care about this football club, whether you're fans, local media, the podcasters, you name it, if we stay as one and really show how much we care about this football club, as the fans have been incredible in the last 3.5 years, I tell you, we've got a right swing at this. But we can only do it, Matt. My passionate war cry, if you like, on this is we do this as one, and we do it again.
Yeah. Well, we're all behind you. We stick together. 14 games. Let's give it one final push. Good luck for the rest of the season, guys. Thanks for your time as always.
Thanks, Matt.
Thank you.